What's going on, everybody? It's Tuesday night. Time to talk some football. Of course, you guys know me. I'm SAJ, Loudmouth of the South. I'm coming to you live from, we didn't even talk about it. Where am I coming to you live from today? Well, I'm coming to you live from, the recovering from the flu suite. I've been pretty messed up the past couple of days. So I wasn't even able to be on Horns Forward last night just because I was trying to recover. So yeah, that's where I'm coming from tonight.
Yeah, we missed you on there last night, man. But you know what? What's up, everybody? I'm BD, and today I'm coming at you from the TCBY studios. I actually forgot about that, and during our little Brahmas kickoff event, somebody mentioned that, so I was like, I gotta put that in the studio.
Nice, but I think TCBY isn't around anymore, are they?
No, they've been gone for a while.
Okay, but that's because pardon me, the whole frozen yogurt thing, and if people know it's frozen yogurt, then they probably don't want to indulge in it. Whereas Orange Leaf does nothing but frozen yogurt, but you don't know that because they don't advertise that. You just think it's ice cream. So what's up?
I'm reminded of the
Texas Brian.
Oh, hey Brian.
Yep, and he used to love TCBY also.
Mine of that old Seinfeld episode where they had the non-fat yogurt that was actually making everybody fat.
Yes, that's true. So for some reason, I'm not seeing our stream on our Facebook page.
It's on there. I just shared it onto mine.
Oh, it's right there now. Yeah, so now I can share it to my personal page too.
Well, there you go.
So, but that's the only reason why I was hanging around to do that, right? Because we've got a show to do here.
Do we? We're not
we do.
Talk about
we do
Seinfeld episodes. We could do that.
No.
Texas talking Seinfeld.
I know because I was never that big of a fan of Seinfeld. So
get out.
You say the same thing when we talk about like The Office, and it's the same reaction. That's not my thing. So I'd rather be out doing things than watching things.
Although Parks and Rec was way better than The Office was. So,
although I still didn't watch that either. So we could do a whole show on what I don't watch. And you could pretty much just whatever you suggest. I didn't watch it.
I don't watch it. I didn't
watch it. Let's talk football because that's what we're here for, right?
Yes, we are.
So lots going on. First and foremost, I've been a little bit out of the loop. Obviously, like I said, I've been a little bit sick the past week or so. Just trying to get over, nastiness the kids are bringing in and everything. We're not going to spend a whole bunch of time on it. But I hadn't heard any updates, but Brian was able to fill me in. The tragic shooting that happened in Kansas City, they were able to apprehend 2 gentlemen and charge them with the crime. So, God bless those police officers for doing their due diligence and following up on that and, bringing some justice to that otherwise horrible situation. I, to this day, don't understand why people lose their minds in situations like that. San Antonio is a perfect example of what you should expect from a city when their team wins a championship.
Oh, yeah.
The absolute worst we do is we clog up traffic downtown for like 4 or 5 hours of people just driving around honking their horns.
Just drive around and honk, man. That's what
that's
we
it. Like, why can't everybody do that, right? There's no, I mean, you might have some people say some bad things to each other, but that is about the extent of it. Nobody really gets into fights. Nobody shoots anybody. Nobody hurts anybody.
No riots. I think the only really injury we ever have is if, somebody's in the back of a truck and they fall out of it or something, That's pretty much the extent of any injuries we get. So we know how to celebrate.
Yeah, and that is 100% true statement. I think that's been the extent of the worst injuries that have happened here is people falling out of the back of a vehicle because they weren't prepared when the vehicle started moving. And that's been about the extent of it.
Every other city, when you win a championship, do better.
Yep. So do like San Antonio. Be lame like us, right? For those that live here or near the Austin area, you know how Austin has the slogan "Keep Austin Weird." San Antonio's is "Keep Austin Lame" or "Keep San Antonio Lame," and this is the reason why, because we get to stick around and celebrate and enjoy our celebrations and not hurt each other in the process. So, the rest of the world do better, man, as Brian said. Now, uh, there's been a lot of stuff going on this last week in the UFL. If you've been paying attention to social media, uh, oh no, uh, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on. What's happening, Mike G? Um, oh, nice. Yes, you're 100% right. Right. So we were actually just talking about this at the we had some fan fests going on around the league, and we'll get to Jeremy's comment. But they did happen to mention at the fan fest about why Dallas lost to Green Bay, and I was grinning from ear to ear. I loved every bit of it. And I even looked over and saw Dirty Toro looking at me, and he was just shaking his head.
Yep.
It was awesome. So what's up, Mike G? What's up, Dirty? Brian Wentzloff, right? You're talking about Ted Lasso. I've heard that. It's great show.
Jason, I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Actually, I haven't seen that one either. So
Okay. Well,
then I'm in good company. It is on my list.
Yeah, I'm in good company. I am binge watching Rescue Me though.
That's such a good show. Oh,
and this is like third or fourth time. I
need to go watch it again. Yeah, I need to go watch it again, dude. I love that show.
Yeah. So there you go. That's what I've been doing with my free time. Now, lots of fan fests going around. Kind of across the league, and I think that's important to take note of the areas that were represented in all of this, because the one thing that we've noticed, San Antonio, Houston, Memphis, Birmingham, and Michigan all had fan fests, right? And respectively speaking, they looked like they were all successful, right, Brian? Yeah. I mean, we tried to find out information on numbers from the Michigan one, for example, and I can't get any solid numbers as to who was supposed to be joining. I'm gonna have to kick out of that. Sorry, guys, I'm getting blown up with a.
Yeah, I was getting that too.
Yeah. But
no, so yeah,
get us back on track, Ryan.
So the Fan Fest, you saw kind of the Houston one that was Saturday, and I think they had about 145 people there, is what I saw or what I heard. And they had it in a suite, but I think that was limited to season ticket holders only. And then obviously we had ours on Sunday. I haven't heard of an official count, but it had to have been 500 to 600.
Easily.
I know there were some pictures that were kind of spread across the interwebs that just showed kind of the seating area, and some people were talking crap saying that it looked like a pretty low turnout, but it was you had to see there were a whole lot more people standing up, so it was probably 2-3 times people that were sitting down. So it was actually a really good turnout. Haven't seen the Birmingham one. It's kind of some of the pictures we saw, some seats, they were about half full, but maybe it was kind of a similar situation. Maybe it was just a bad angle. Memphis didn't really see. I saw some pictures from Memphis. Looked like it was decent turnout, and then Michigan, we didn't see any. Didn't see any pictures. Just all we saw pictures of was the mascot. So not sure how that turnout was. So
yeah. Doesn't
look like St. Louis, DC, or Arlington have had any. I don't know if they're planned, but it'd be cool. Hopefully all the teams have something going on.
Right. Well, Brian here said that he believes DC had theirs a couple of weeks ago. Which,
well, if there was, then they didn't post it on their Facebook or any of the fan pages. So
right, which would seem
if they
odd.
did, then that's kind of lame on them.
Right. But looking at what we can see from the numbers, right? We know San Antonio. I mean, we know what the RSVP numbers were. The RSVP numbers were close to 1,500, and we got about 800 easily, I would say, right? Because the seating area itself held about 200, and there were open seats there, but there were at least, I would say a good 500 people scattered around standing up when they were interviewing.
It was all spread on the Alamodome floor, so there were people all over the place. So
what's up, Jackie?
Hey, Jackie.
Hey Jackie, tell your mom I said hi and I'm ready for that hug. By the way, like I'm feeling better. I'm good. Um, we uh we got to be very fortunate recipients of good luck with doing the two different podcasts, specifically the Horns Forward podcast. We were able to do a meet and greet with Coach Wade Phillips and ask him a couple of questions. Jackie was kind enough to post that video online. It was supposed to be Jorge that was going to do the interview, and he had some personal engagement come up that he had to get taken care of. And so, for whatever reason, everybody decided it was a good idea to put me on the spot and have me interview Coach Phillips. Um, Not going to lie, it was a little bit intimidating, and I definitely would have loved a second or two more to be a little bit more prepared for it. But it was a lot of fun. The one thing that I
It was really cool. I mean, it was a great job you did. And I mean, let's not lose sight of the fact, dude. You interviewed a freaking Hall of Fame coach. So
yeah,
like I would have been nervous as hell if it was me doing that. So
and I was, but what really intimidated me the most was how do I welcome in and invite this new coach to the city that I 8 months ago was bashing and jeering and tearing into, right? Like I was so worried that he was going to remember me and be like, man, I'm not talking to you, you know? But no, Wade Phillips was very gracious. I'm sure, he's had plenty of years of getting bashed by people only to turn around and come back in that stadium and be welcomed with open arms. So he understands the game probably better than
yeah,
any of us do. And I'm sure he doesn't take it
he just understands the passion that we have as fans. So
Yeah.
it was nothing personal to him.
Yeah. So 100% right, Jackie. Yeah, I was very intimidated by that one fact alone. Well, I mean, besides the fact that I'm talking to a Hall of Fame coach, and this guy's done more with football in one day than I'm probably ever going to do in my entire life. That alone is intimidating, and then his pedigree, like who his dad was and everything. Of course, that's extremely intimidating also. But yeah, I was more worried about the short term ramifications of my actions from last season. Not. But no, he was actually quite humble, and if you go back to that interview, there's one thing that I definitely wanted to highlight because I watched the video again today, and Wade Phillips had mentioned something about personal character development.
Yeah.
I think that's extremely important to highlight because how many of these young men make the transition from college to NFL and they're not quite mentally mature for that transition, right? That's where you count on, like veteran players in the locker room and stuff like that, because the coaches aren't going to have time for that kind of stuff, right? Well, now you have kind of a soft landing spot, if you will, for players to continue to get that development, to be mentally and physically prepared for not just the action on the field, but the action off the field also, right? The pitfalls that some of the people fall into, like the Antonio Browns, or I'm trying to think of, God, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
All the players that have run into problems when they come into that kind of money, right? Guys that will go out and they'll spend $7-8 million on a house just because it's a Tuesday, and come the next season they tear an Achilles and they're out, and then they make no money, and then they're back in the poorhouse again, right? Because they can't afford this lavish lifestyle that think that they're going to bank on forever. So I thought it was extremely important that Coach Phillips had said that one of his goals for this season is to develop these young men's character and get them prepared for kind of the next level of success. That's
And not even next level of success really. It's getting them prepared for life, to be, go out into the world, whether it's football, whether it's something else, like be good citizens of the world. So that was actually really awesome to hear Coach say that.
Yeah. So Brian has a little bit different take, and I will agree. Moose Johnson on the microphone is polished and poised and perfect. He is like the quintessential sports guy. when he's talking.
He's also an announcer, so he's got
Mm-hmm.
plenty of experience with it.
Right. But I also like the
So,
fact that you could tell that everything he said was genuine and true. Like when he was talking
yeah,
about some of the cuts that they had to make, making the real, coming to the realization that, you know, family members are going to lose their jobs, and this is going to hurt people. And they had to make the best decisions to protect as many people as possible and the interests of the league to try and make this successful, to then maybe try and, you know, think about growing it later on and maybe trying to, you know, recover some of those, you know, those losses, right? But I really appreciated Moose's candidness, that he didn't pull any punches. He didn't try and give you the sweet media answers. He just spoke the truth, and he spoke it very eloquently, and I thought that was very nice of him. Now,
you know, we talked about it kind of last night on Horns Forward, you know, because they talk about the rules, and I was kind of hoping for the XFL kickoff, but you know, hearing how Moose explained why they went to the USFL style of the kickoff, you know, I'm like, all right, man, you know, he did a really good job explaining that and kind of sold me on it.
mm-hmm.
So, you know,
the only thing is, I wish they would have pushed what he had said at our event. I wish they would have pushed that a little bit harder, because I think that would have been better for the league overall. And for those of you that weren't there, what Moose was talking about was, you know, the fourth quarter, 4th and 12 option, and so the onside kick. So that's placed at the 25, right? They were actually talking about moving it up to the 35, because that way, if you don't, you know, if you go for it and you lose, you're not giving your opponent, you know, a 35-yard field goal attempt, right? You're giving them more like a 48, 50 something yard field goal attempt. And so that encourages people to go for it more. Now, I wish they would have done that, because, again, it would have encouraged people to go for it more on that 4th and 12 option, just to get a little bit more excitement out of the game, right? Because people could, you know, be worried about losing that possession and just saying, forget it, we're not going to take the chance. Whereas if you know that if you lose, you're only losing possession of the ball, not potentially setting your opponent up for 3 extra points, right? So I wish they would have done that. But other than that, I think it was a great job. Now I'm being yelled at to flip my camera back around. You guys aren't the boss of me. Stop telling me what to do. There. You guys all yelling at me all the time, man. Can't even do a show. God, Mike. But right here, Robert didn't like this part, right? When Wade started talking about Green Bay, Robert tuned out.
you know what?
That's
I did
good.
too. I did too.
That's good, because
you
you guys still lost to Green Bay, right? There's no excuse. You guys lost to a better team, superior team. I don't care what Moose said, right? You guys played like crap because Green Bay played better when it mattered. That's what matters.
all right, John Madden. You only won because you scored more points than us.
Exactly. John, as long as he can coach, you don't care how he speaks. That's 100% true.
No.
Jack.
So you know, they talked about the kind of what offense they were gonna run, and obviously they said, you know, kind of the Mike Leach offense is what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of in you know, tribute to him, to Mike, who kind of, you know, started doing that mostly, and then the Dirty Toro. You know, we talked about this the other day. I'll let you have this if you want.
One
man.
of a kind.
I'll bring this to a game.
One of a kind collector's art piece, man.
One of a kind that you can get at Kirkland's.
Only one can possess it. It's like the Highlander of wall paintings.
Yeah. There can be only one.
Yep.
I don't know, what was I talking about? I got off subject.
Mike Leach, air raid style offense.
Oh my, yeah, and then the defense is going to be the Phillips defense, which we've all seen what the Phillips defense does in the NFL and for Houston last year. So,
yep,
you know, that's what I'm really looking forward to. Yeah, I mean, Brahmas had a good defense last year, but you know, Wade's ready to take it to the next level, and he's got the defensive ability to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, AJ is the coordinator. Well, we saw how good Houston was, so I'm really looking forward to the way this team's going to look next year.
Yeah. Now, I will say I'm glad that we went to that event. Um, just for some of the reminders, like I had forgotten the fact that Wade Phillips was actually with Denver when he won his Super Bowl. Um, the guy has a football pedigree a mile long, right? I mean, his accolades, his accomplishments, the things he's done. San Antonio could not have gotten luckier in this deal. You know, I understand that if and for those that love Ward, you know, hey, I get it, right? He was very personable. He was very easy to talk to, things like that. But Ward didn't have the football knowledge that Wade Phillips does. And while Wade Phillips may not be this huge bubbly personality, just inviting people to come in, what he is going to do is he is going to win games for us. And that's what San Antonio wants. That's what San Antonio needs, and that's what San Antonio is going to get. That's basically what Phillips himself has said.
And he's a down to earth kind of. He's a humble dude. It seems like. Even when we're leaving the event, we're kind of one of the last ones there. Kind of walking out, and Wade leaves the parking lot, leaves the loading dock area. And he just kind of stopped and waved at us,
Yeah.
and took off. Like, I mean, he didn't have to do that. He could have just left, and he took a few. I mean, it was a few seconds, but still, it's something like that that really you can tell the character of a person. So
yeah, so I do love that about him, the humility, the humbleness, the fact that he's been to the big show, he's won the biggest game on earth. He's gonna be in the Hall of Fame, if he's not already. Like his legacy, even especially considering the fact that he's coming from such a lineage of football that he has.
Yeah,
he's had to work even harder. Well, maybe not necessarily harder, but he's had to work hard to set his own footprints and not live in his dad's. And he's done that, right?
Yeah.
And then for him to still be that humble and take time to sign autographs with fans and talk to us, the common everyday people,
yeah,
like he's one of us. I mean, I was actually really impressed, and I didn't even think to bring up, any painful memories about how the Cowboys fired him or anything like that. Although
he did bring it up himself.
He brought it up himself, and he said he had hard feelings against Jerry. He just wished Jerry wouldn't have fired him.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool that he made a joke. He made himself the butt of a joke, and was like, wow, this guy's pretty impressive, man. But so yeah, there was a lot of good stuff that was talked about with the at the Fan Fest here in San Antonio, and it sounds like in several of the other locations as well. But we're pretty much only going to talk about San Antonio right now because that was the only one we were at. But it sounds like the league as a whole, they've made all the tough decisions. They've moved everything along as fast as they possibly could. There were just so many decisions that had to be made. That affected so many other things, and especially like if there was a kink in the schedule over here, right? Then you had to go back to the schedule over here and fix all these things to get back to here, right? So there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of moving pieces, and Daryl Johnson said it himself, is that this whole thing took effort on literally everybody's part, and they're meeting every day for hours and hours and hours on end, and numerous phone calls daily, and just everything, trying to get everything lined up perfectly to where they've got it now. So for example, I know some of San Antonio fans, right, we're kind of upset because we've got a game on Easter and then we've got another game during Fiesta, right? These are not ideal, but let's be honest, right? There's an Easter sunrise service that you can go to.
Yeah.
You can go to the game, and then you can do your family Easter thing afterwards. Most people's family Easter things don't even start until like 3-4 o'clock anyways.
Yeah. Make the game your family Easter thing. I mean, you can spend Easter with your Brahmas family.
Right. There's going to be an Easter event there at the game.
Yeah.
There has been in the past that San Antonio culture, right? So come on out. I'm sure they're going to put Easter eggs on the field again like they did, and probably do it a little bit more organized this time because
Oh, yeah, hopefully it's a little better than last year.
Yeah.
But hey,
well,
last year was the first year they
yeah, well, and
live and learn.
and that was the XFL, not the UFL. Let's give the UFL a chance, right? Because it's a whole new organization. So I'm sure that's going to be planned a little bit better. It sounds like the Fiesta game is going to be planned for a little bit better also, because it's not going to be at like 9:00 at night or anything like that. It's going to be during the day, when we're not going to have to be competing with the Fiesta Carnival nearly as much. So like there are opportunities there for you to adjust your schedule and still be able to do all the things. Right here, Robert said that Moose kept apologizing about the Commanders in the opener being on Easter. And Dirty's right, man. We just want football here. And you could tell that Moose was very apologetic for what happened to San Antonio and with the AAF, because he knows how hungry the San Antonio fans are here for something to stick around.
He was our GM for those who was it GM or president of the operations or whatever. He was I thought it was GM.
He was GM in the AAF. He was president of football operations in USFL.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, he was. I mean, so he knows what San Antonio can be. So,
yep.
So I'm glad that he's kind of a part of this, because he can kind of help drive that. He's like, hey, I saw what they did with the AAF. I know what they can be with this league as well. So
yep. Well, and then if you go back to another one of the videos that Jackie had posted, right? One of the questions that I was able to ask Moose and Phillips, what can we tell the average San Antonio fan to get them to kind of buy in, right? And the answer is simple. This is what's next, right? This is right up the road. They've basically said, come check out a training camp, right? The training camps are going to be in Arlington, so it sounds like it's going to be open to the public. So we could go up to Arlington and go check out some of the training camps. The value of the ticket for what you're getting is very comparable. Okay. Are you getting, the high level superstar NFL caliber players at this price? Probably not yet. Those guys are going to morph into that eventually, hopefully.
But you got the guys that are hungry that are trying to get into the league. Mm-hmm. So
you have an opportunity to witness history being made in front of you at these prices. You get to watch a transitional part of some of these young men's careers as they transition from, what could be called semi-pro ball into professional football. And you could be a part of that. And these are all at very reasonable prices. This is what's next. This is going to fill that gap for you for football during the summer months. Well, the late spring, early summer, when we don't have any football and there are no training camps coming up and there is nothing going on in the NFL other than maybe the draft. This is what's going to fill that itch for you. And then you're going to get to see some of these players hopefully have breakout years this year and get selected to go to a training camp for potentially your Dallas Cowboys or your Houston Texans or something like that. And it could be somebody like one of the local kids here from UIW or from UTSA, right? So there is definitely a connectedness to this group that is something that no other football organization can offer you, right? Is that connectedness. Daryl Johnson said it himself. He's big on pushing the football communities that have been established here in the USFL and the XFL. Now that's primarily in the XFL, but the USFL has their football communities also, and they want to continue to urge those to grow. So for the average San Antonio fan who also probably isn't watching our podcast, but if by some chance you happen to stumble across it and you're interested in getting to know something about this, I would advise you what Moose Johnson said. Give them a try. For the price, one game. Give them a try. See what this UFL football is all about and see how much it's worth it for you to buy in because you're not only getting a great product for your money, you're also helping invest in opportunities for these young men to develop into something more. And you could be a part of that as well. So,
Exactly. And going into that, and speaking of that, preseason or pre-sale started today. You know, so
yep.
the single game pre-sale or single game tickets went on pre-sale today. So you don't have to buy season tickets. Buy a game, try it out. If you have fun, buy the next one and bring a friend to the next one. So I mean, you go to the first game, you'll have a blast. You'll want to come back.
Yep.
So
one game. That's all we're asking. One game. Brian and I have season tickets. We've got one seat available. We plan on bringing somebody different every single game, and hopefully getting those people to buy in and buy tickets to the next game because they're going to be so addicted to it. You don't have to pay as much as we did for ours. There are plenty of seating options. They range anywhere from, $10-15 a ticket up to $200. Well, maybe not $200, but probably about $100 a ticket. But everything is.
I mean, there's still really good seats for $20 a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't beat that for 4 hours of entertainment, and then you can come tailgate, hang out with us, and eat and drink and have all kinds of fun. So absolutely, come to a game, you'll want to come to the next one.
Exactly. Now, going back to what you had said, or you know what? No, I'm going to change on that. So one of the things that we were talking about offline that I think is going to be kind of important for us to look into now, because the scenery has really kind of changed. What does the pathway look like for an undrafted college student? That's coming out of the college ranking system here, doesn't get picked up by anybody. What does that path now look like for them to get their opportunity to get into something professional like this?
Well, it gives them a better chance, and even maybe even not necessarily didn't get drafted or something like that, but those college kids that know they're on the edge, maybe on the outside, they just finished school, or their college football season 2 months ago, they can come play in the league and get more game film on tape, and then get picked up by an NFL team versus just waiting until the draft and doing combines and stuff like that, which are fine in their own right, but a combine isn't game film. So, it gives the kids a chance that are on the bubble. It gives them more of an opportunity to show themselves, to show what they can do. So
I'm going to disagree with you on that. And here's the reason why. I do agree that the UFL does give them a chance, but now that the UFL exists, it's a combination of the XFL and the USFL, right? You have half as many teams right now, and we don't know what the future of the UFL looks like, in regards to expansion and stuff like that. The opportunities are less at this level, but this is where organizations such as the IFL are going to come into play to give those players that maybe aren't on the very top of that bubble, right? They can take a step down and join the ranks of the IFL, play some indoor football, develop their skills a little bit more, get a little bit more game tape, get in better shape for the combines, and then have some material to actually show some of the UFL recruiters to get them into that next level. It's going to be a little bit more work. Yeah, there's going to be a couple more steps involved, but I think this is where, the indoor football part is going to be crucial to the development of players who otherwise maybe wouldn't have a chance at all, right?
Seems like you said you were going to disagree with me, and then you went ahead and agreed with me.
I disagreed with you in the sense that the UFL.
I mean, what league it is, but basically say that you've got the UFL, you've got the IFL, you got the NAL. Maybe if they're still going to be around or whatever, we can talk about that later.
Put a pin in that one.
You've got the AIF, this is the one that has the team incorporated. So there are lots of spring ball opportunities for these players who they're not going to be a top pick, or they may be on the outside looking in, to show themselves, to show what they've got in real time, real game situations.
Yep. Now, so yeah, I agree with you in the sense that there are opportunities. I just don't think it's as clear cut as, hey, you're gonna, if you're good enough, you're gonna be in the UFL and that's it. Because I mean, there's only going to be a very
Yeah, of
finite,
course not. I mean,
right?
there's a lot of people who are good enough but still aren't in the UFL because there's only a finite number of spots available. So,
and you've got cats like Luis Perez that are, the king of spring football. That this is pretty much going to be the extent of their career. This is where they're going to spend, most of their time. AJ McCarron, we found out, is coming back to St. Louis,
yep.
Right after all that, hubbub and heartache and bellyache that he did and everything, and rightfully so. I get it, right? Union representation without being truly represented is kind of a problem, right? How can you honestly say that your union is representing you when nobody there was talked to you or spoke to you or found out what it was that you wanted as a player, and then went and represented that to the league, right? It's kind of the cart before the horse. But the point is that there are guys that are good enough to dominate in the UFL here and make a career out of this. Maybe they're not going to get good enough to ever get to that. So you're going to be competing with that also. Because I don't think that they have any kind of like time constraints or anything with these UFL contracts. It hasn't even, we haven't even actually completed a season yet as a UFL. So it's going to be really hard to be nice, Jackie. I'm recovering from meds. I told you. But
it's all right. We'll give you a pass tonight, Jake.
We've got to figure out what the life expectancy is for an average UFL player, and then going around, working around with that to see how players can kind of work their way through that, because there's going to be some people that are good enough that they're always going to make a roster in the UFL, but maybe not good enough to make that final step back into the NFL, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then that's again where I think that organizations like, the IFL, which arguably is the premier league right now, that's
I don't think arguably. I think they're the premier arena league by far.
Well, I'm saying that because the jury is still out. We still don't know what's going to happen with the Arena Football League. This is going to be like the 15th iteration of the arena. There's been all kinds of speculations. Nothing really seems to be cemented in concrete here. But there's tons of stories you can find about it. It's tons of talk about what the AFL is going to do this next season in 24. But there's just no evidence to back anything up. It's just, stories and speculation, really. So I don't want to dismiss the AFL without giving them a fair shot.
Right now, so.
Right. But they're kind of on the back burner until I can see them actually start doing something. They're on the back burner for right now. What's not on the back burner, though, is the NAL. And I think it's important that we talk about that because that was going to be one of the leagues that we were going to cover. And that was because North Texas was in the NAL. But
you said was in the NAL.
Was.
Mm-hmm.
Was. I'm trying to bring up the story here. But the North Texas Bulls franchise has been terminated from the National Arena League because of financial situations, which includes failure to pay league dues as well as failure to provide an executed arena lease for the upcoming 24 season. So basically what this means is that they didn't have the financial means to actually go through with their business plan. And so they were terminated from the NAL. The NAL really does try and focus a lot on financial stability. That's why they went after some of the teams that they went after, especially when they had the mass exodus this last season from the NAL to the IFL and to the AFL. They wanted to make sure that they solidified, a good solid core, which is also why they went after a lot of the teams from the CIF, right? Which is where you have like the Topeka and other leagues in there, whatever. Well, come to find out that there are other teams that have fallen out also. There's two more that potentially are going to be on the bubble as well. So the arena or the National Arena League.
NAL. I'm sorry, the Bulls, North Texas Bulls, and the Topeka Tropics were both out of the league now. So
right, but there was a third one that was supposedly on the bubble as well. I haven't heard anything about that yet, but
there's rumors, but it's all unfounded, or it's just speculation right now. So.
Mm-hmm. So that's a league that was 8 teams that went down to 6. By the way, your sister said she has the coolest big brother ever. We know that's a lie, but that's okay. That's a lie.
No.
You're a derp. I haven't known Christy. I haven't known Brian nearly as long as you have, but we both know he's a derp. It's okay. But we love him anyways. Now,
that's right.
One thing that I am interested to see is with the loss of these 2 teams, how are the other 6 teams going to fare in this division? What's going to happen? Are they going to, try and realign with somebody and, strengthen numbers and, kind of, circle the wagons and hold on for dear life? Or are they going to try and go at it with 6, or what are they going to do? Remember, we had 7 at one time when San Antonio was in the NAL, and they made that work. It was awkward, especially when they lost Albany, but
they made it work until they lost 2 teams and went down to 5. Now, in this situation, they've still got, a month until the season starts, which less than a month, but it's still not. It's not middle of the season like what happened last year. So they've still got some time to kind of move the schedule around and fix some things and make it work. But, yep. Thanks, baby sister. Love you too. They've got time. Like I said, it's not middle of the season like it was last year, where Albany and Fayetteville, dropped out, at the midway or after that of the season. So, they've got time to make it work. Yeah, it's going to be 6 teams, but they can do it.
Yeah. Well, so I'm looking at their website, and it looks like they may already have other teams in the mix. There's a Minneapolis team, a San Jacinto team, and a NOCO, which I'm assuming is Northern Colorado. And those teams
those are like the preseason games. And I saw that when we were looking at it before. They're not NAL teams, but they're just a non-league opponents is what it says.
Right. But that could be potential members coming in too. Like this could be kind of a tryout. Be like, hey, what do you think? Right. So there could still be hope for the NAL after all, right? It just means though that if there isn't a Texas team in it, we're not really going to spend time covering it. So, we're going to talk about it this time and just kind of see how things develop. But for the most part, with North Texas not being able to pay their dues, they're out of the NAL, and so they're out of our scope. Of course, we have IFL coming up. San Antonio Gunslingers. Right there. The whole reverse camera thing has me screwed up. But
it's not mixing with the medicine fog.
No, no directions don't make sense right now at all. So yeah, again, we've got the IFL schedule coming up. and it's the CIF for the Corpus Christi Tritons, I think it
No,
is.
it's the AIF. Yeah, the CIF is the league that the NAL purged.
That's right. Yeah, it's the American Indoor Football.
Yeah.
Now I will say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the AIF is doing their schedule with 7 teams. There's actually 2 Texas teams in there. I forgot about Amarillo Venom, right?
Oh, yep, that's right.
And I got to tell you, man, this AIF website looks pretty sharp, right? So if you're in the Amarillo area or maybe in Corpus Christi, and you've got nothing, going on. Beaumont is going to be getting a team as well next year already.
Really?
Yeah. So that's going to be
Very
3
nice.
Texas teams right there. So another Texas triangle. But I do know for a fact that Corpus is going to be playing in the American Bank Center. Yeah, you're right, Eric. There's so many different leagues going on right now. But if you're in the Corpus Christi area on a weekend that they're going to be playing, this is totally worth the money to go check out. Corpus, the American Bank Center, is a pretty nice venue. They've got it set up really well for arena football. Think if you've ever been here to the Frost Bank Center, think of it kind of along those lines. Maybe not as fancy and nice and everything, but it's going to be along those lines, right? The American Bank Center has so much potential, and they don't have huge name brand things going on in Corpus all the time. So when they do get something, they're at the American Bank Center because the facility is so nice. So go check it out. It's worth the money. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Brian and I have had good times checking out arena games.
Oh,
it's not
fun. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it is not the same game as regular football. It's not going to be like what you're going to expect from the UFL or anything like that. It is its own unique creature. But that's to say that there's a lot of fun that can be had there. Like if you like high scoring offensive games, this is the thing for you. If you like to see, big plays getting broken up at key moments, this can be the thing for you also, right? Because we've seen that happen as well.
Oh yeah. It's a real fun, fast paced, offensive heavy, pass down the field kind of league. So it's not your smash mouth defensive football, but it is a lot of fun to watch. So I love watching it.
Yeah, it is good stuff. But the nice thing is that, I mean, this is family friendly entertainment. So like anybody who's maybe gone to like a San Antonio Missions game or maybe a Corpus Christi Hooks game or something like that, it's along those prices, right? Very family friendly, very affordable. It's something that gets you out of the heat, right? You can burn up an afternoon and maybe set yourself back, $50-$60 or something, right? So definitely make sure that wherever you're at, look around and see if there's an arena team or something that you can do, kind of help support that, because again, a lot of these players are folks that are trying to work their way up the ranks to get opportunities to get into the UFL to then try and make it to the next level. And so it's these are some of these are like our friend Caleb Samuel that we met at the Orlando Combine. We're trying to stay connected with gentlemen like that because we want to see these people develop throughout their career, from college to semi-pro football to professional football to maybe hopefully eventually being an all-star on a team and maybe even getting into the Hall of Fame. I don't know that we're gonna be able to get that lucky to catch somebody. I mean, that's like catching lightning in a bottle, right? To meet somebody that young in their career and to watch them go all the way.
But I mean, we had it with Kurt Warner. Like he was arena football to the NFL Hall of Fame. So I mean,
yep. So I mean, things could happen, and I know there's been others that have made the transition from arena football into professional NFL style football. and have made a big name for themselves as well. So it's not uncommon. It's not impossible. It's just not very, it's not very common. But yeah. So again, something for you guys to check out. Now what else do we have? I do think, going back to the top of the show, we were talking about the fan fest and everything. I do think it's important to note here that St. Louis is not, that I know of, had a fan fest yet. And I'm definitely interested as to why. Wow, bro. From MySpace? Come on, guy. And yes, it is. Okay, leave me alone. St. Louis has not had their fan fest yet. I have to believe that some of it is possibly because of the weather. Because let's be honest, it's still snowing, or it snowed very recently in St. Louis. And, the St. Louis people deal with inclement weather like this all the time. And so, them coming out just to hang out at a fan fest, even as dedicated as they are, I don't think they're going to do that just, for 20, 30 minutes or something like that, right? It would have to be a big, all day event on a weekend where the weather is, tolerable. So I would say probably for them, their fan fest will probably be sometime in the next, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. When we get a little bit closer to the season, the weather gets a little bit more manageable for them, where it's, they can expect, maybe a cold day, but not a snowy day, something like that. And then we'll see theirs. And I would love to see what their numbers are going to be. I know we've talked about it. We've had our battles. We've taken our shots at St. Louis, right? Caca, in fact, is not the law. And, your chicken coop, hey, congratulations that you're getting new flooring and new lighting and everything like that.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It's nice that they're actually going to have a turf from this century. So, good job for them.
But you need to invest a little bit in some Fabuloso and some Swiffers and clean that place up, right? Because I have to take Zyrtec, like 3 of them, before I can even go in that place. It's so dusty. So, but again, I would love to see, like, again, we take our shots, we try and stir up rivalries where we can and stuff like that. But St. Louis does have a pretty dedicated squad. I still don't fully understand, I get that they don't like Kroenke, but that Kroenke thing is still going on 30 years later. And I still don't, I don't understand the hatred.
Get over it.
Okay. That would be like us being, pissed off at Wolf for, the blown opportunities for us getting a professional baseball team here, or, something like that. Like, whatever, move on. But I want to see,
get over your ex and just move on to the next. You got the Battlehawks here. Just forget about the Rams.
Right. So I would love to see.
You sucked as being an NFL city, so you're good at being an XFL UFL city.
Right. But I want to see. I want to see what they can do as far as numbers, because let's be honest, folks. If we're going to be the best, we have to beat the best. And right now, St. Louis has the best when it comes to numbers. So
just numbers wise, they've got just as many XFL championships or spring league championships as the Brahmas have. They have just as many playoff experiences as the Brahmas have. So
that's true.
They got us in attendance numbers, but that's really about it.
Right. Now, it is important to note, though, that St. Louis is going to be the home of the championship this year, right? And so our last regular season game is going to be in St. Louis. And so what I'm hoping for is that we do our last season game in St. Louis, and then turn around the next weekend and represent the San Antonio, the XFL in the UFL championship in St. Louis. And it won't be against St. Louis because they'll be in the same division and we'll have beat them.
Yep. It's even if they make it. So
right. Well, no, we're making it.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
But they may not.
Well,
they're still DC. So it could be us in DC. So
yeah, it doesn't matter. We're going to be playing St. Louis that last week in St. Louis. So that's a regular season game. We're going to definitely be there for that one. but then I believe the conference championships will be the next weekend.
Yeah.
And then the final game will be the
after.
weekend after that in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be making a lot of trips to St. Louis this year. Not excited. No, I'm excited. I'm excited. I've got family there. It's good times. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much all we have for right now. Look, my guy right here, John, he gets it. 10-0. Let's go. Revenge season this year, right? We got Son of Bum. We got everything. We're ready to go. Okay. Brian, what else do we have to talk about? I think that's pretty much it.
Actually, I do think we should mention one thing. Talking about the games and going.
Oh yeah,
we're trying to get together a bus to go up to Arlington and Houston. So obviously stay tuned for that. Jackie over with Horns Forward, she's kind of taking the lead on putting that stuff together. But that's look for that. It's gonna be a great time. We can all ride up there together, go to the game, and all ride back together, and not have to worry about making that drive, not have to worry about paying for gas, and just having a grand old time together. So definitely be looking forward to that.
Yep. So there's already polls out right now. You can just go over to the Horns Forward Podcast Facebook page, and you can vote on
like which one you want to go to. There's yes, you can. There's a couple different ones. Whether you want to go to Arlington or Houston or both of them, stuff like that. So
yeah.
But it's definitely something it's getting put together. So
yeah. So
join us.
Keep your eyes peeled. More information available on the Horns Forward Podcast page as it becomes available. But Jackie's working her tail off trying to make this the most enjoyable, most budget friendly experience for everybody. They're definitely going to have professional drivers for the bus, so it's not going to be like me and Brian, because God knows we'll make it there alive and we'll make it there in record time. But
you make it there a lot quicker than the regular bus drivers. But
yeah, you may have to change your shorts 3 or 4 times on the way. But
that's what the restrooms in the back of the bus are for.
Exactly. So, but definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. There's, going to be some other opportunities as well, but on a much more limited capacity. I do encourage those that want to travel with the team, so to speak. Make sure you reach out to your ticket sales reps, see what kind of deals they can work for you for, like the Birmingham game or something like that. Check around local areas for, Airbnbs, plan on, taking a big group with you, help cut down on costs and everything like that.
Check with, like I said, check with James, the ticket rep, whatever, because, like for the Memphis game, we're going to be making a road trip up there. Try and get with him, see where we're going to sit. And we don't have to travel there together, but we can all sit together in the game and just, be loud in the group. So that's,
mm-hmm.
If you're planning on going and traveling, just get with the ticket rep and see what other Brahmas fans are going and where they're going to be sitting. So we can all kind of get in the same area.
Yeah. And if we're traveling, we're going to be doing Texas tailgating when we get there. So, all you'd really have to do is just worry about showing up and, Horns Forward Podcast, Texas Talking Football Podcast, we always come prepared. So we'll have more than enough to cover for everybody. The main thing is you just got to worry about getting there and getting your tickets and getting back.
Yep.
You just show up and have a good time, and we'll take care of the rest. But make sure you're looking for information on all of our pages. We'll share everything as it develops there. Other than that, I think that's pretty much all I got. Hopefully, next week when you tune in, we'll have some more good news to talk about and stuff like that. And I'm definitely looking forward to hearing some more information about, Arena League and stuff, because that should be kicking off real shortly here.
Yep, absolutely.
So, all right, folks, that's all we got. So till next week, we'll catch you guys.
Later, everyone.
See ya.